Hey guys, Cloudy Hayes back for another video. The WoW remix, Miss Pandaria, has gone through a lot of changes since it's been out, and with that said, the best farm locations have also changed as well. I'm going to be releasing the top 5 most current best farm locations that exist in the WoW remix, so let's get right into it. The 5th best farm location in WoW remix. This is the Gil Mir farm, or however you pronounce it. It's just north of the Bainan village and Conai summit. There are 2 towns right next to each other that look similar. One has a big circle and the other one is just a little strip of town. Make sure you're in the right spot. The town that goes in a big circle doesn't hyperspawn like this side does. I'm putting it at number 5 because it doesn't yield the most bronze or gems, but overall this is a super chill solo farm. These mobs hyperspawn and it's a very small spot. You just farm the same spot over and over, and usually there's no one ever here. I would also say I got an average amount of threads and gems from this farm as well. Nothing to write home about, but if you're looking for a super chill low-key farm, this is it for sure. Like I said before, these mobs respawn super fast and there's no competition here. You do this farm in 2 separate pulls. You kill all the mobs on one side of town, and then you run to the other and kill them. By the time you're back to the other side of town, everything's already respawned. The mobs are almost instantly spawning here. You kill something, then it spawns basically instantly. Overall, this is a solid farm, ranked at number 5. Next up, we have the Nelli Lagoon farm coming in at number 4. This farm is located far south in the Valley of the Four Winds. Just look on the map and head to the island that's furthest south, shaped like a crescent, the island of Unga Ingu, off of the Nelli Lagoon. This farm has a lot of mobs and a few different spots to farm. Here you just want to run around and gather as many mobs as you can handle and AoE them down. There's a lot of ground to cover, so respawn times won't be an issue. I recommend staying away from the beaches and farming the little villages in the center and the edges of the island. This is a great farm if you're looking for gems. Lots of green items too. This farm yielded a bit more than the last farm in terms of bronze, but I would say it's a bit more difficult though. The mobs here seem to hit a little bit harder. If you're struggling to survive, you can swap out your gems for some defensive gems or shield gems to help you out. You can also stack leech gems too if needed. This farm may have some competition here, but it's larger spots so you shouldn't have any issues finding mobs to tag. Overall, I rank this farm at number 4 and it's a great farm. Lots of gems, lots of everything else. Next up on the list, coming in at number 3, is the Windward Island farm. This farm is located in the Jade Forest, in the northeast corner on the Windward Isle. This is definitely one of my favorite farms, and it's fairly easy to do with little competition here. This farm seems to drop tons of threads here. This is definitely a high yielding thread location for sure, and as it goes for bronze, green items, and gems, it's fairly decent as well. For this farm, you want to run around and aggro all the turtles and slither scales in the area. Just follow my route and continue farming in a circle. You can grab huge packs of mobs here, which makes for great yields for everything. Overall, this farm drops a decent amount of everything. Tons of bronze, tons of greens. Try to kill the turtles before they shield up, and watch for the scent of blood ability the slither scales do, which will hurt you a bit if you're a squishy class. Make sure you're looting as you go, because I had a problem with distance and things disappearing on me for some reason. Overall, this is another great farm. I would say definitely a high amount of everything, and it seemed to be extra high amount of threads coming out of this farm. The next farm location coming in at number 2 is the Conai Pass farm. This farm is actually pretty insane. Unfortunately, this is a group farm, but it's very easy to get into a group. Personally, I just made a group and people queued and I invited them. Make sure if you're going to do this farm, look or make for groups in the raid section. It seems that's where people are posting farm groups in. Also, if you make a group, only invite 3 people with 4 people max in the group. This helps with tagging reasons. It's more efficient to run 2 groups with 4 people in each group, so each group can get the tag on the mobs and you're not fighting for mobs, also known as a 4x4, but a group of 4 is just as efficient. So this farm is actually really crazy. There's so many mobs to kill and they're hyper spawning like no tomorrow. There will be a lot of competition here, but there's so many mobs that it's really not a big issue. You just run around and kill anything you can and as fast as you can. The best way to farm this location is obviously in a group of 4 and making sure that your party is spread out and killing different sections of mobs. Each person grabs their own mobs and kills them. You will have shiny things to loot everywhere and all over the place. You literally are constantly looting with this farm. This is a high yield farm for everything for sure. This is definitely one of the best farms available right now if you like group content. Also, being in a group is nice because you can go to the bathroom if you need, and when you come back you have tons of loot to collect. Just make sure to let them know if you're stepping away, but also make sure to put in your part of the work and don't go AFK too much. There's no real route for this farm per se. You just run around and kill whatever you can and loot things. Overall, this is a great farm coming in at number 2. High yields for everything. Last but not least, finally we have the number 1 farm in the WoW WoW remix. This is the Gou Li Halls farm. This farm is absolutely amazing. It drops a high amount of everything. I even managed to get 2 epic armor pieces in less than 1 hour of farming. That's pretty crazy because you can only get epic armor in heroic or mythic difficulty raids. The key to this farm is collecting these keys, ancient Gou Li cache keys. Also, there are plenty of mobs to gather in AoE down as well. You want to farm the ruins around this area, killing the Shao Tian mobs. Your main goal is to find ancient Gou Li cache keys. Keep farming until you have a good amount of keys, maybe a dozen or so. Then you'll want to head inside the ruins of Gou Li. Head downstairs, killing everything on your way down. Once inside the main hall, clear the main hall area and head straight. Once you get to the first doorway, you will see a maze or a little pattern on the ground. Make sure to step on the correct color so you don't die. Here the red is safe to walk on. Once you're past both floor mazes, head downstairs even more. Be careful of the statues, they will fall and maybe kill you if you have low health. Once you're downstairs, head to the back of the room and you'll see golden chests along the wall. Those keys that we've been collecting unlock these chests. In these chests, you will always get 1 cache of the infinite treasure, which is the whole thing we are looking to get. You will also find Lesser Charm of Good Fortunes, which you can turn in 10 of to get 1 cache of infinite treasure. That's not really that great, but it's something else as well. You will also get gold from these chests, but we don't really use gold in the WoW remix, so that's not really that important. But the caches we get out of each chest is amazing. This farm is really great because you get tons of resources while farming for the keys. You will also find epic armor as well. And then you get tons of free caches of infinite treasures as well. This farm definitely has the most yield for resources out of all the farms I've done. The group farms, of course, will most likely yield more, but as it goes for a solo farm, this is by far the best farm out there. So you just want to farm all the ruins around the area collecting keys, and when you have a good amount of them, head downstairs and open these chests. Something to note, these chests do respawn super fast, so you could come down here with as many as you want, but you might have to wait a few minutes or so for them to respawn. And also to mention, be careful not to aggro Mylao while you're down here opening chests. You can kill him if you want, but he hits hard and doesn't drop much. I killed him and got a total of 14 bronze. Kind of a waste of time. Another great thing about this farm is that while you're farming, you get a script called Prayer of Purged Fear, which makes you farm much faster. It reduces your cogwheel gem cooldown by 80%, so in my case, I use Blink. It reduces Blink to a 3 to 4 second cooldown, so I am basically spamming Blink non-stop, moving around like a madman. When you're doing this farm, you will find a lot of these scrolls. You pretty much will constantly have this buff the entire time you're doing this farm because they drop frequently. So those are the top 5 best farms that are currently out right now, guys. I hope this video helps you guys find a decent farm spot that works for you. If you do like any of the farms in this video, or if you learned anything new, please toss the channel's description, as it really helps out and I really do appreciate everyone's support so far. That's it for this video. See you in the next one. Cloudy Haze out.
I just need to know what's on your mind. Tell me what you needin'. You can call my name, I'll be around.